Wife, 34F, wants an abortion after planned pregnancy. How should I, 33M, react to this? Throwaway account for obvious reasons, and I'm sorry for the rant. Me, 33M, and my wife, 34F, has been together for 8 years and married for 4. We have a 3-year-old son who is the love of my life. The first year after birth was harsh to say the least. Colic, lack of sleep, moving, and the death of my father-in-law, an event we're still recovering from and which has left some mental scarring on my wife. But we powered through, and out. Marriage has been great for a long time. About 67 months ago we were driving home from my mother-in-law and decided we were ready for another child. This was a very sweet moment, and the following months were fantastic, and our relationship were almost better than always. Becoming pregnant was not as easy as we had hoped. My wife became incredibly disappointed every time it didn't happen. One time she said that it would be a huge disappointment if we never got a second child, and she did everything in her power to improve the chances of getting pregnant. About 5 weeks ago she finally had a positive pregnancy test, and my wife was ecstatic. She took pregnancy test every day for several days and even went to our GP to confirm it with a blood test. We talked about names and planned our future together. 10 days ago my wife didn't get out of bed and said that she felt unwell. Later at work I got a text from her where she wrote that she felt awful and didn't want to continue with the pregnancy. I told her it was just morning sickness and hormones messing with her head. Things got worse over the next days, and she would hardly get out of bed all day and didn't react when our son wanted attention, which is very out of character. She kept saying that she had changed her mind and wanted an abortion. I repeated that it was just hormones and that I thought she really wants this child. We even went to an early ultrasound, which was normal. I felt warm and happy when I saw the heartbeat, but my wife said she wanted to throw up. Things have escalated over the last few days, and we've had ugly arguments where we both broke down crying. I had to call in sick on a 24H shift just to make sure our son was taken care of. She keeps insisting on having an abortion, and I have said that she is sick, that I'm worried, and that she needs help. I've said some things which I regret. Once I asked if she was psychotic because her logic didn't make any sense, and I also asked her not to kill our child. I apologized quickly for the latter and said I misspoke, but the damage was already done and she has used it against me several times afterwards. I called our GP today, while my wife was still in bed, to make an appointment. My wife rushed out of the bedroom, snatched the phone, and yelled that our marriage was over. We managed to get an appointment, and our GP referred us to a psychiatrist. Our GP didn't think my wife was mentally ill and didn't prescribe any medication. She said this should be handled by a professional psychiatrist. We sat down and talked when we got home, and my wife said that she was even more determined to go through with the abortion and felt disappointed in the way I have handled the situation, that I have ignored her feelings, calling her sick, and even been mentally abusing her and trying to manipulate her into not having an abortion. She also thinks our relationship is beyond repair because she will never be able to trust me again. I disagree with my wife. I have told her constantly that I love her, that I'm worried, and that she needs help while she has been using me as a mental punching bag. I've convinced her to talk to her mom, which is one of the few things which actually have helped. I have also done all the housework and taking care of our son, which has been adding to the exhaustion. I love her, our family, and the child she is carrying, and I am completely heartbroken. I can see that she is in pain and just wants me to support her through an abortion, but I can't bring myself to say yes, even though I probably would. She asked if I could forgive her if she had an abortion, and I said that I had to think about it too, which she responded that my answer told her everything she needs to know. I'm generally pro-choice and has told her several times that it's her body and that I can't stop her. from having an abortion. My mind is completely melted. Everything was fine 2 weeks ago and we were looking at houses where we could raise our family, and now I'm about to lose everything. Does anyone have any advice on how to handle this situation? Edit 1. I have been asked to tell my wife's reason why she changed her mind. She basically said that she haven't been able to feel like herself after our son was born. She has regained some feelings of herself over the last months and is worried that she will lose herself again. We have talked about this and we are in a much better position than we were when we expected our son, with better economy, support and work situation. Prenatal depression is a thing. I had it until the second trimester. Just very down and unhappy. Lots of anxiety. Will be good for her to see a therapist. Sound like she is depressed. Therapy sounds like a good idea. You will probably both need therapy after this is over, regardless of the outcome. Your wife went from ecstatic, picking out names and planning for the future of your family, after months of being devastated when pregnancy didn't happen, to abortion in a very short amount of time. And somehow, as much as Reddit loves to throw around PPD, it seems no one wants to mention the just as medically popular prenatal depression. You were right to be concerned that something might be wrong, but you were wrong in how you handled it. Kind of struggling with how many comments are brushing over your wife snatching the phone from you and yelling at you that your marriage is over because you called a doctor. But hey, that's the quality of Reddit when it comes to these issues. You've done all that you can do. The decision is hers. You need to make yours. I'm about as pro-choice as they come, but if you make me go from picking out baby names for a pregnancy we planned to abortion, I will fully understand your reasoning being that you don't want to and you changed your mind. But I didn't change my mind and I would be done. She basically said that she haven't been able to feel like herself after our son was born. So she's been feeling postpartum depression the entire time. BTW. As an outsider, yeah, there's an unnatural amount of you going, it's just your hormones, it'll pass. When she talked about how horrible she was feeling, imagine how you'd feel if you were wrong and instead of getting better, her depression got worse. Depression can very easily put a person's life on the line, and you may be forced to choose who matters more to you, your wife or the pregnancy she's carrying. Also, saying, "No, you're wrong," when someone is telling you how your words are making them feel is exactly how you push them away. Obviously something is wrong to go from wanting a baby badly to abortion. But why are you handling it this way? Pregnancy is not fun. You constantly feel like you're going to puke for months and your body is doing extra work and it's tiring. You need a bit more empathy. If you weren't reacting like this, she might have agreed to get help sooner. Also ask yourself, if she keeps the baby and this depression, or whatever it is, continues for a few months, are you going to be able to keep things up without her help? How badly do you want this baby? Because you might have to put in more work this time around. This sounds like acute severe depression and she sounds almost catatonic. Sounds like she needs immediate psychiatric intervention. It's just morning sickness? It's just hormones? How many times have you been nauseated for weeks on end and had terrible food aversions while people tell you to eat? How many times have you had your hormones messed with? How many times have you birthed a child? Don't ever say it's just anything having to do with pregnancy and birth, especially because you don't know how it feels. If you minimize and invalidate her experience, she will never trust you again. Your wife is unhealthy. It doesn't matter how or why. She isn't healthy enough to have a child. She should be your number one priority. Getting her healthy is what you should be focused on. sorry this is tough and heartbreaking on both sides to read. You definitely did not handle this well at all. At least some of the things you've said to her. I completely understand being upset, scared, disappointed, etc., but it still wasn't right. You were very dismissive of how she's feeling. She sounds like she has serious prenatal anxiety and depression, and she needs to see a therapist. And unfortunately, it sounds like this is going to be marriage-ending possibly. She wants to go through with the abortion, which is her choice. But that's going to cause a lot of resentment and other feelings on your end. Marriage counseling may help if she'll go with you. But it's going to take a lot of time and patience for the both of you. And her comments make it sound like she may not be willing to work through this even if she does go through with the abortion. It could be true, or it could be the anxiety, depression talking. I definitely think you both need individual therapy and marriage therapy here. Best wishes to you both. Update us please. Update me. Telling her, it's just hormones, is not at all helpful. It sounds as if you are completely ignoring her concerns. Have you let her thoughtfully explain why she does not want this child? And did you listen without interrupting her or thinking about your wants? Because I expect there are reasons beyond morning sickness. Here's the thing about people who feel trapped. They snap and kill themselves or them and their living children. See it on the news all the time. The best thing to do is support her. She wants an abortion, so tell her to schedule it and you'll drive her. If that is your deal breaker, then get a divorce. Just make sure you have protections in place for your kid. I'm very sorry that your wife lost her father recently. I'm also very sorry that she is so depressed that she is now unable to care for your son. Your wife is indeed struggling. She needs that psychiatrist appointment, and I commend you for making that happen. Please continue to support her and your son in this difficult time. I wish you and your family the very best, no matter the outcome of this pregnancy. You mentioned the death of her father, then it seems shortly thereafter her desire for a second child. Could those things be related, where she felt a child could help her get over her dad's death? Can't tell from the post the timing of these two events. If that's the case, maybe she realized that a pregnancy wouldn't help her cope with the death, and in fact doesn't want to go through with it. OP's comment to explain why she doesn't want the baby anymore. She has quite a lot of morning sickness and fatigue, but otherwise a normal pregnancy. Her reason is that she feels like she will lose herself if she has another child. She feels that there was so much work with the out first that she can't even think about doing the same thing again with a toddler on the side. My personal bet is that she felt pressured into this baby. Don't know by who. And it doesn't matter as much as knowing why she felt pressured in this kid. Also, between the time where you agree for the kid and the time where you get pregnant, you can change your mind. Especially with such deadbeat father who's so present he can't get that his wife need medical care. You're absent. She raised a baby on her own, and now she sees that not only she's gonna have two, but that when she asks for help you belittle her and ignore her. Maybe it was just an ask for help, and that she could have gone with the pregnancy after. But now she knows that you're not a good husband and that she can't rely on you. So not having a kid with a deadbeat father when you barely can take care of the first is basic. Be honest and add her reasons to explain her refusal. She has real reasons that are legitimate. And it doesn't sound like she really wanted this kid in the first place. This post make it seems like it's coming out of nowhere, where she seems to have kept her sadness for a long time. Your wife is exhausted and in no mental place to have another kid. She's not crazy, she needs help. A nanny and a month of sleep. Holidays. A spa week. A therapist. Not a second kid. Just be aware that your life is not like a movie where your wife gives birth and all is well. She will instantly love the baby. If she gives birth and feels nothing for the baby, then you have two people suffering on your hands. Don't subject the baby to a mom who doesn't love them. I think mental help isn't off the table, and I hope your wife gets the support she needs. But please understand that an abortion might be necessary. She has the right to abortion, and you have the right to not stick around. So your wife repeatedly voiced that she had changed her mind about carrying a pregnancy to term. And your reaction every single time was, "It's just hormones," and "You're sick," and "Are you psychotic?" and "Don't kill our child," and to try to make an appointment with the GP and a psychiatrist. Against her will? How has she been using you as a mental punching bag? Because all I read here is a woman telling her husband numerous times she doesn't want to go through with a pregnancy after all, and her husband acting like she's mentally ill for changing her mind. I'm not saying you can't be upset and devastated. You can, but your responses to your wife are just heartbreaking. You totally invalidated her feelings, undermined her perceptions, painted her as illogical and ill, and played the hormones card that has a long and ugly history of being used by men to discredit women's perceptions. Why do you assume your wife is mentally ill just because she changed her mind? Maybe reality finally set in and the glow of the pregnancy wore off and she realized she couldn't do it. You can absolutely grieve, but she's absolutely right. You have ignored her feelings, and you have been manipulating her. Nothing about this post indicates you ever actually listened to what your wife was saying, and instead routinely leapt to there being something wrong with her for making a very human decision. Did doing everything in her power to improve her chances these past few months include things that would go towards balancing her hormones? Because it sounds like she may have finally got postpartum depression managed only to throw it back out of balance into prenatal depression. Go to a doctor who will do blood tests etc. because I was in the same boat during pregnancy. Hormones way out of whack. And balancing those again changed everything. This is a very sad situation. I empathize with you both. I can't begin to imagine what you're going through and it must be very hard, but I want you to try and put yourself into your wife's shoes for a minute please. I personally had a very rough pregnancy. I was sick throughout. But the mental and emotional turmoil I went through I still shudder. I vowed I'd never get pregnant again. I made this clear to my husband and only said we can use a surrogate if he wants a second child. He said I had the womb so I make the decision as he is pro-choice. You haven't handled it well at all. You haven't been empathetic but continue to force her to carry a pregnancy she doesn't want. My advice would be listen to her and try to understand what she's saying. I am glad you're getting professional help. If you force her and she keeps the child, there's a big likelihood she will resent you more. And it's gonna end up in divorce. Get some therapy too, Dad. I am sorry this is happening. I'm so sorry. This is all just so sad for everyone.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. ThrowRA-SAD-DAD is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.